More questions about the mainstream media's role in the news. CNN anchor Candy Crowley asks her panel whether it was, quote, inappropriate for a doctor to give his personal conservative opinions in a speech introducing President Obama at the National Prayer Breakfast last week. Here's the clip.
This was Dr. Ben Carson. He is a world-renowned pediatric neurosurgeon out of Johns Hopkins. He was at the prayer breakfast, and he was talking about the idea of, weaving the Bible into some objections he appears to have with the president's approach. Take a listen.
When I pick up my Bible, you know what I see? I see the fairest individual in the universe, God, and he's given us a system. It's called tithe. Now, we don't necessarily have to do it 10%, but it's principle. He didn't say, if your crops fail, don't give me any tithes. He didn't say, if you have a bumper crop, give me triple tithes. So there must be something inherently fair about proportionality.
Whoa, so this was really interesting, number one, for the venue. Number two, for the person doing this, I mean, he may be a political person, but it's the first time I've seen him on the national stage.
All right, so let's talk about all of that with Alan Colmes. He is the host of the Alan Colmes Radio Show and author of Thank the Liberals for Saving America and Why You Should. Cal Thomas is a syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor. Whoa, Cal. Candy Crowley seemed never to have heard of such a thing.
Candy was correct. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Alan. I've been attending this prayer breakfast since 1971. The purpose of it, and it's been going on for 61 years since the Eisenhower administration, is to bring people of different backgrounds, political and even religious, together in the spirit of Jesus of Nazareth and bridge partisan and political divides. The first half of his speech, Ben Carson, in which he talked about his upbringing in Detroit, how he had overcome so many things, was a role model not only for African Americans, but for every American. It was a wonderful story. I've heard him tell it before. But then he drifted off into politics, which frankly shocked a lot of people who are organizers of this event. And for the representatives of 160 nations who were there, and for the many Democrats who were there, not only in the dais, but also in the audience, I think it came as a great shock. I've never heard the breakfast used for political ends like that before. So I think Candy was right in asking the question.
You think he was out of line?
Well, I think it was inappropriate. I agree with his remarks. I wouldn't disagree with a single thing he said. It just wasn't the right venue for doing it, and in my view, didn't live up to the purpose of the breakfast.
All right, Alan, your thoughts?
What Cal said. Well, you know, this is why I love Cal Thomas.
February.
The fact is that Cal is right, and whether he should or should not have said it, Candy Crowley was right. Shouldn't it be pronounced Crowley? Anyway, Candy Crowley was right to ask about it. And she didn't ask about it in a partisan manner. She asked about it in the fair and balanced manner of her panel, which is what a host should do. So I don't know why the right should be upset with Candy Crowley for doing her job, for asking about something that was unusual to have happened in a prayer breakfast. I don't even think we should have prayer breakfast. I don't think we need the government to do that. But as long as we're going to have one, it should be nonpartisan, which is what it's supposed to be.
Well, as long as we're going to have one, maybe the president shouldn't complain about how it gets covered. Take a listen to this.
This is now our 5th prayer breakfast. And it is always just a wonderful event. But I do worry sometimes that as soon as we leave the prayer breakfast, everything we've been talking about the whole time at the prayer breakfast seems to be forgotten. On the same day of the prayer breakfast. I mean, you'd like to think that the shelf life wasn't so short. But I go back to the Oval Office and I start watching the cable news networks, and it's like we didn't pray.
So what's going on there, Cal? It sounds like the president wants credit, I guess, for hosting or attending the prayer breakfast, and gets a little upset when we in cable news don't give him his props. I don't know.
Well, John, this has been going on since the Eisenhower administration. It's not organized by government. It's organized by private people. The president's always invited. It is an outgrowth of the Senate and House prayer groups that have been meeting since the 1940s. You always have co-sponsors, one a Democrat, one a Republican. This year it was Mark Pryor, the Democrat, and Jeff Sessions, the Republican. It's really a wonderful affair, and I think the fact that it tinged off into politics this time gave a lot of the media an opportunity to continue fan the flames of division. It's really unfortunate. Again, Ben Carson is a wonderful guy with a personal story. I wish the media had spent more time focusing on his personal story of all of the obstacles he's overcome instead of the political side. And that's the problem. When you bring politics into this breakfast, that's what you get.
All right, Alan, it is February 11th. Are you going to agree with Cal again? Do we put this date on the calendar?
I wouldn't underscore everything about this date. I think Cal was right in what he said about Carson's speech, the first part of it being very appropriate, the second being less appropriate. I do think the president would be wise to not, any president, whether it's President Obama or any other executive or anybody in public life, to criticize the media. Don't go after the people who've got a rather big bullhorn, and especially when he singles out individual networks. I wouldn't do that, because why pick that fight? The media is always adversarial to whoever's in office, and should be, and the person in office probably should not attack those who cover that person.
Alan,
I agree.
Alan Colmes, Cal Thomas, what a day. Thank you both.
It'll never happen again.